And we're live. Okay. I hope this is better, everybody.
Hi.
Sorry about all those technical difficulties.
Yep.
So, we haven't been on for a little while.
Nope.
But
I've been down at a veterinary conference,
We
talking to lots of veterinarians and
getting
all
lots
kinds
of
of information. Yes.
yes, that's the great thing. Then Joy brings it back to all of us.
Right. Yeah.
So obviously you guys are definitely liking and following our Facebook page because our numbers are going up. And we've hit 61 something, which is amazing. I'm so excited. So keep liking, following, and sharing because it's definitely working. We're starting to get a few more applications to get our bunnies out, and I want to owe it all to them for liking, following, and sharing our Facebook page.
A lot of people end up following the information, letting people know about how good bunnies are as family animal companions, and getting some really good information out there. Okay. So tonight we actually want to talk about bonding. We've had a lot of questions about bonding recently, bonding bunnies. So rabbits, because of their hereditary background, the European wild rabbit, they live in a community. So they really do not like being alone, okay? Now, I always tell people, the best people for having a single bunny is somebody who doesn't need to work for whatever reason. They can be home all the time, works from home, and normally works from home, not because of COVID, but normally gets to work from home so they can be their bunny's companion at home and be there with them. Somebody who homeschools, so the family's home all the time anyway. Or maybe they're retired and they can be that bunny's companion. But bunnies do not like being alone. So if they can't be around other bunnies, they need to be around people. So if you are working all day or going to school all day and you sleep at night, and most of us do, then having a companion for your bunny is a really, really good thing. Because they're home for all day, and then when you're sleeping all night, they're alone, they're high stress, and they don't know, let's say for example, what that siren is going down the street. It's like, what is that? And that affects their immune system, all of these things that go on. But if they have another bunny with them, and we're going to use, like my little kind of like Lady and the Tramp bunny style, okay? Here, they can cuddle together, maybe still scary, but there's someone there, okay? And that makes a whole lot of difference for them. So they like having a friend, whether it is, and bond mates, of course, better because they can be actually in with each other, but even a friend that's next door. It's like you having someone living in the house next door, the apartment next door. So these are things that, that you really should consider. And if you're looking at bonding, okay, the thing to keep in mind is first, it should be your bunny's choice, okay? I kind of explain it this way, you really wouldn't want your mom coming home and saying, guess what? I found a spouse or partner for you. It's like, oh, I love you, Mom, but I'll take care of that myself, okay? And this is pretty much the way the bunnies are. They're extremely, extremely opinionated, okay? We can't tell what they like, just like your mom can't tell you what you like, okay? So they really need to be, we like to introduce them to different bunnies. At least that's our process here. We try to find, we introduce them to different bunnies so that we have a chance to watch their body language and see which is the best bunny for them, okay? And you'll see all kinds of body language, okay? We have seen everything from instant hate where they just launch at each other, okay? Which is like, no, no, no. So we do it in very, very limited space so that we try to keep them safe. Okay? And then, as we introduce them, we're watching that body language. One of the biggest things to watch for is a hiked tail, okay? If that tail is hiked, that bunny is on guard. It may be ready to attack. It is not a happy camper, okay? If that bunny is thumping, okay, it's not a happy camper, okay?
No.
So we're looking for those things where they're kind of curious, relaxed. They're not worried about each other. If one bunny turns its back on the other one and the other one's like, whatever, they're not concerned. So that has some potential there because they're not worried about each other attacking. So they've decided they're safe, okay? And so we want them, to, obviously, be interested in each other. But take into consideration that if you've got them in a new area, the first thing they're going to want to do is explore, okay? Because they're in a new area, and remember, their eyes are on the sides of their head. So they have to be able to explore to find out where everything is at. Once they're feeling a little more comfortable, it's kind of like, oh, look, there's another bunny here. And they may start, approaching the other bunny. Watch again the body language. If the one bunny is, like, I'm going to get you, okay, it's not necessarily a good situation there, okay? And you want to just, keep careful. If they start to circle, okay, this is not a good thing. This is a, prelude to a fight usually.
That's right. Or they start going after the
Yes.
bum area.
Yeah, you start seeing them nip, okay? Again, that is not, a good situation.
That's
Good.
be done.
Yeah.
That's my sign. Be done.
We're saying I'm not happy and I really don't want you around, So there's all of these different things, but when they're just kind of like, curious, they pass by, I've even seen someone, kind of like, okay, well, I'm kind of interested, but let me kind of check you out, Those are the things that, we want to see, some interest, some curiosity, and keep in mind that as much as people do not like comparing animals to humans, I do it in this situation. I see so many things that look so much like humans when it comes to bunnies and bonding that, it's just like, it's easier to explain. And so think about it, if you're dating, okay, this is exactly what they're doing, okay? You go out on a date to see if this has some potential interest for you, okay? There's no way of knowing unless you go out on that date, And it's like, well, you think maybe, okay, maybe after that first, not so much, okay? And you don't do a second date. But if it seems possible, well, maybe you just set up that second date. And then it's a relationship that you're building, okay? Most people wouldn't say, go up to some stranger, and said most people, okay, hey, cutie, want to come home and live with me? Okay. This is the way the bunnies are. They do not want a strange bunny moving into their territory. You wouldn't want some stranger coming to your front door, knocking on it. You open the door and they would shove you aside and, hey, it looks like a nice place to live. Well, you're either pulling out the shotgun, calling the police, one of those things. And because you don't want that stranger moving into your house. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of how to say it. It's like my daughter Stephanie.
Okay.
She's still single, and I tell her, this is the guy I want you to go with. You know what she would tell me? Yeah, it wouldn't end well.
Yeah, I know your daughter. You're right.
Yes. That I'm like Joy. I always refer to my kids, my grandkids, to the bunnies, to all animals, because they kind of are, and it all works together. So I kind of just back off and say, like Joy does, we bring several bunnies out, let them decide who they want, and you're going to know
Yes. Okay.
pretty quick.
We see, Lisa, usually a lot of that, and sometimes it can take 2-3 meetings. There are times when after the first meeting, it takes the first meeting sometimes just to get the visiting bunny to understand what's happening.
Right.
Oh, I'm meeting other bunnies.
Yeah.
And then they're more prepared the second time they come in. So it's a game of patience. Okay, you cannot rush this. And that's one of the biggest things that we see to cause things to fail.
Yep.
Is rushing things, okay?
And you don't want to rush it, because that's when you make mistakes. And then your anxiety goes to their anxiety, and it doesn't end well.
Right. So we're looking at, like I said, we're looking at curiosity, interest, once in a blue moon, and I do mean once in a blue moon, we will see instant love.
I've seen it once.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times you've seen it. Have you really?
Yeah.
I've seen it once.
And it's so amazing, just absolutely amazing. But like I said, and we're talking 24 years now, and I've seen it 3 times. And I've seen some others where they developed a relationship very quickly, but on the vast majority of them, just like with humans, it takes time.
You're dating.
Yes,
you're
dating.
getting to know each other.
And just like you after maybe a few dates, you might, well, would you like to come over to my house for dinner? Dinner, nothing else, okay? Because you're now allowing them into your territory, okay? And that's the way the bunnies are. So the bunnies date in neutral territory. Even if they end up going home, We find it's actually best to have the bunnies in separate rooms, okay? Especially if the home bunny,
Just-
you know,
yeah,
it's
just
his
stuff it.
territory. So if you stuff another bunny in his room, now, even if you make it so that they can't reach each other, he's going to smell that other bunny. He's liable to start marking territory all over that room. And that's not what you want happening either. So if you keep your dates in neutral territory and you have the other bunny, you know, in another room so that they can come visit, you know. And I do dates, you know, like let's say on a couch. I might put something down on even the kitchen table and have a couple people there.
That's what I do.
Because you want it, and again, in a very limited area where you can respond very quickly if things go south.
Yeah.
You want to make sure
At
you're
my
able to
house,
handle
we
it
do
quickly.
kitchen table.
Mhm.
We put a blanket over it. I always put a little bit of hay in the center.
Mhm, it's good.
And then my family each takes a corner.
Right. That's
To
just
be
to prevent,
safe.
right, to be safe. And I do not recommend sitting down a litter box
No.
because one of those bunnies is going to use it as territory.
Yep.
Okay? And then they're going to fight off the other bunny because it's just, you know, it's territory. You know,
Right.
it almost always
You
happens.
can't have
no.
any items.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
I've learned from my mistakes.
And
One
that's what that's
item.
on.
Yeah. One item. And they claim it to be theirs. You
And
might as
fight
well
off the other bunny.
consider it over.
Right. So we want them to, there's nothing to distract them from each other. And then you can tell, again, whether or not there is some interest going on there. Do not push it past a certain point. Generally, those initial meetings, we only want it to go, you know, a few minutes. If we see it going well, it's like, okay, the bunny can, you know, meet that bunny again a second time. And nothing bad is going on. Because it's like, think about it, if you're around a stranger too long, you start getting aggravated and irritated, and now even though that might have been a good relationship, that stress is too much
Right.
for them for that length of time.
I always start it under 5 minutes the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it depends on, like you said, how they're doing. But I do it a little different than you. And then as long as they're doing well, I'll increase it a little bit. But I always end it before it goes back.
Right. And I
Always.
like to end it where we kind of scrunch the bunnies together, okay? And you pet both of them. One of the things that you can do while you're doing this is you pet one and then you pet the other. You're actually smearing
Yeah.
their scent on each other.
That's what I do. I'm like,
Yeah, and then you're right. And they all think kind of then they're being groomed because that's the ultimate goal is having the one bunny groom the other one.
and once that happens,
Mhm.
they kind of say, okay, they've decided
Okay, I'll let
who's
go.
going to be the dominant one.
Mhm, that can happen
in
too.
the relationship.
Right.
One thing I used to do is take a little tiny smear of banana
I've done that.
and put on each one of their foreheads. So they're both
Wait,
going,
wait, wait, wait,
ooh,
wait.
ooh, I like that, ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
And they're both thinking that the other one's grooming.
Yeah.
Sometimes that helps.
Sometimes it helps. Sometimes it you know has no effect. But
Correct.
it's worth a try. You know,
All
especially
bunnies
if you're
are
doing that.
different. That's
Mhm.
the thing. What works,
Humans are different. Okay.
what works for these guys may not work
Right.
for the next pair that's going because they're each individuals.
And I like I said, like, you know, just kind of squishing them together. They've had a good, you know, thing. Maybe even give them a little treat or something. And then you take them apart. Because then the next time they meet, they remember good things. And they have a really good memory. Okay?
Yes.
So we want to make sure that, you know, that memory is good. So the instant you start seeing things, you know, doing a little bit, you know, it's like, okay, they're getting irritated. Let's get them separated. Now, you separate them, but then maybe, and this is, you put them together, but you control this. Do not let one nip at the other one. You control it, pet them, and instantly separate them so they don't have a chance for anything bad happening.
Yeah,
Okay?
I always let them go for like a minute, and then I always squish them together and love on them.
Mhm.
Let them go
Right.
again.
Yeah. So there's different things that, you know, that you can do, but we do want them being comfortable, okay? And, you know, one of the signs that you can see and you know, and is splooting, you know, where they just front legs out, back legs straight out, you know, and they just collapse. Or maybe they do the bunny flop next to the other one. And, you know, that's a good sign too because they're putting themselves in a very vulnerable position, which means they're comfortable. They like being around that other bunny. So that's a good sign. If they sprawl out or if they do that bunny flop, those are really good signs. If you see the bunny grooming itself, okay?
I love that.
Yes, all right. This is kind of like, if you ever watch the old happy days, you know, with
Yep.
the fawns, you go get them. So, oh, you know, Kirsty, it's perfect, you know. But this is really basically saying, I'm trying to make myself pretty for you.
I always say
Yeah.
when they're grooming, it's like, "Ooh, I'm so pretty. Are you watching me?"
Yes, are you watching me?
Is the other bunny watching when they're grooming?
Yeah, you know. So they're trying to give off, you know, signs that they have some interest, you know, being so the curiosity, roaming around. You know, if the one turns its back and the other one is really not happy about it, that's not all that good either, because, you know, the one has been insulted, and that can take some time to, you know, overcome that. So watch all of these different things, you know, that happen. You can always kind of, you know, intervene and keep things going. But one of the things, like I said, that happens is people rush things, okay? And that's really when things start going downhill. Think about, again, a human relationship, okay? Yeah, there are those occasionals that, you know, get married after 2 weeks, okay? And then there's the couple that takes, you know, 6-7 months before that relationship is comfortable enough to say, or maybe even 2 or 3 years. The bunnies usually don't go that long, okay?
No.
But I have seen it go 6, 7, 8 months
Yeah.
before they were comfortable with each other and ready to be living together.
I was trying to think. All of mine have went like 6 months,
Right.
5-6 months before but I can tell you how to bond all day long, but for me to do it, I stink at it.
No.
But I can tell you how to do it all day long.
Well, and you're really good with working with people who are trying to get their bunnies, you know, and, you know, and that's some of the, you know, the things that I want you to talk about is, you know, some tips. So once the bunnies are home, you know, and one of the first things I'm going to tell people, though, right off the bat is make sure that the two bunnies, okay, especially if they're housed in the same room, cannot reach each other, okay? Because they will fight through the bars. The one saying, get out of my home. The other one saying, no, I'm guarding my territory. And now you've got it going through the bars, ripping an ear, a nose, a lip, a paw. You've got damage. And you just might as well chalk it up at that point,
Yeah,
okay?
at that point you just,
Right.
you're defeated. It's
Yeah, right.
not
No.
going to happen.
And so you don't want that happening. Again, you don't want the bunnies marking territory against each other. All of these, you know, these different things that can, you know, be so much of a difficulty. So having the visiting bunny, the new bunny, you know, like I said, other room and neutral territory. You know, most people don't have, you know, the bunnies on their kitchen table. You know, so that's a good spot. Like I said, or the couch. Like so you have the couch back here. Cover the couch. You want to make sure that if there are any accidents, your couch is protected, okay? They are bunnies, okay, so, and they can like to, you know, mark territory, you know, when it comes to that. You know, let them, you know, sniff each other. This is a good thing. You know, sometimes they'll want to, you know, start grooming the other one's ear or something of that nature. Those are very, very good signs. You know, it's just a matter of you're looking for that comfort factor. If there's any kinds of anxiety, they're fearful, tense, nervous, the tail is high, it's not worth it, okay?
No.
You're stressing out your bunny, and the chances of that bond happening are low. So we want people to have, you know, the bunnies to have more options available to them. You know?
And that's the best shot when you come here because we have so many.
Mm-hmm.
And when they start dating, is what I call it. I call it dating on our love couches. You could probably come and your bunny could go through 5 rabbits and be like, I don't like any of them. But then we kind of end it and tell you to come back because your bunny's had enough. Then it comes back, and the first bunny we give them, ooh, I kind of like that bunny. But they have so many to choose from. They're not just, and I did have, if you remember that one lady that contacted us where her neighbor stuck that baby bunny in her bunny's cage in the backyard
Oh my
because she
gosh.
thought all bunnies got along.
And it was so
That
tragic
was awful.
because the adult bunny attacked the baby bunny, ripped it up, okay, and that baby did not survive.
It's
No.
They have to have a choice,
Right.
and you just cannot stick bunnies together and think they're going to get along because they will not.
No, they're very, very territorial. Even those bunnies that are down in those caves or those tunnels that, you know, they're not all best friends. They may get along as a community, but they're not like best friends. So where they've got their own little nesting area, okay, that other bunny that's in the neighborhood may be able to pass through, but don't go poking your nose in my little hiding spot, because we're going to rip your nose off. And that's just like I said, the stranger walking down your street, you know, part of your community, but you don't want them invading your house. And so all of these things that simply go on, we want to make sure that people, you know, understand to really, really take their time. And if you have questions, that's the best thing, you know, send in your questions, because, you know, we can tell you, get a video of your bunny. Then we can kind of see what that bunny's body language is telling us, and we can relate to you if you're not certain. Okay?
And again, Joy and I always tell you guys, get a video, send it in. If you're struggling, we can FaceTime you at the same time you're doing it. You know, that's why we have this live, so we can help you guys out, and you guys, we're always available for you.
Yeah, we try.
Well, eventually we will get to you.
Yes, I mean, it might be not right that second, but we will get to you. Okay.
Exactly.
Do we have any questions going on or anything?
So, since our computer messed up, I don't see any messages at the moment.
Okay.
But if you tell us where you're from, because earlier we could see where you guys were from, and I can't see anything right now. I don't know. I'm trying to look it up on my cell phone, and all I see is people watching.
Well, thank you for watching.
Yeah.
Okay. And
I appreciate
if you have those questions, if you have any questions tonight, doesn't have to be about bonding. Send your question in, because we're happy to do any of the questions. Couple other things that I've had people ask me about: does it have to be the same breed bunny? Nope, they don't care. They really don't care.
Nope. You can have a bunny this big, bond with a bunny this big, and it's the most adorable thing ever.
They're so funny. Yes, I have had a single boy bond with 4 girls. Okay. And oh my gosh, he thought he was in hog heaven. Let me tell you. So, and those girls, oh my gosh, they just sandwiched him. Okay, it's like, ooh, we got a man. Okay, so it was just really, really funny. But they bonded. It was a very, very quick bond. Sitting there. We have seen bunnies where it's like different ages. I've had May, December. We don't always recommend that simply because the older bunny has that potential of passing on, but then we can never guarantee anything. So I've seen where the younger bunny didn't last as long. I had one bunny that he went through 3 bond mates.
I was going to say, I know several people that have went through 3-4 bond mates with their bunny.
For the one single bunny, And, it's just like I said, there's just no guarantees in life on anything. So we do see all kinds of things, but when a bunny has had a bond mate before, quite frequently they really do want another bond mate. They know what it's like having a friend, and they get really, really, sad, not having that friend.
I know.
Yeah.
It makes me sad.
Okay. So other things, so age, breed, gender. Okay, obviously everything we're doing is fixed. Please do not ever introduce any bunnies that are not fixed. Okay.
No.
And and it's like I said, we can be very, have to be very blunt about this sometimes. Well, my female is fixed. And so, well, do you know what that boy bunny's going to want to do? Okay, over and over and over again, till she wants to kill him. Okay, so that's not going to happen. And the other point is, my male's fixed, so my female can't get pregnant. Well, then you've got a female who's basically in heat 30 days out of the month, basically. This is kind of basically what it boils down to. Ladies, PMS, 30 days out of the month. Okay, so she's not happy. She's also, very, very prone to uterine cancer. I think I read where it's like there's, 80% of them have uterine cancer by the time they're 2 years old. So it's not just that they have to be fixed to avoid pregnancies. It's that they need to be fixed for health, and long-term life. They're also much more likely to be very clean, use a litter box, if they're fixed, and they have a much better relationship because it's based on friendship, and they have a long-term, friendship, with each other. One of the things, and this is one of these, you got the good, the bad, and the ugly with everything. One of the sadder things about having a bonded pair is if there comes a point where one has to be let go. Okay, health is no longer making it a good thing for living. Both bunnies need to go to the veterinarian. Okay, now the one may end up being euthanized, but the other one needs to be there. Okay, it's kind of like our human funeral services and closure, all of that. If this bunny knows his partner is gone, he can move on. He's sad. He's going to grieve. And we see bunnies grieve. So you have to watch them, make sure they're still eating, that they're getting a lot of attention. But they know that partner is gone. Okay, so they can ultimately move on. If this bunny is taken away from them and euthanized, this bunny keeps waiting for his partner to come home. Where's my partner? It's like having a spouse missing in action or whatever. And and they are likely to never accept another friend because they're still waiting for their other friend to come home.
And I find that with even my dogs and cats.
Yeah.
The guinea pigs, the chinchilla, everything.
Right.
I've always taken everybody.
So they know. Like I said, that's one of the sad things, but it's a sad thing in life for all of us, whether it's a family member or an animal family member. It's a difficult situation, but it's something that we have to learn. And I always tell myself, when it comes to the loss of a pet, would I have rather never have had that animal in my life and thereby avoided the pain, or would I have wanted that pet in my life? And every single time, it's like what that animal brought to my life was worth what I had to feel when I lost them. And the heart is a very, very big thing. It can expand. You can love more. It's just like parents can love more than one child.
My grandkids.
Exactly. You can.
I got one, and now I have a whole bunch of them.
That's okay. And you can love all of them. So it's you don't have to say I can never love another one because no, you can. Like I said, and that next one can help fill the hole that's in your heart. So we do love them for that reason, and it adds so much to our life. Have them, those animals. Whether and of course it's not even just bunnies. It could be dogs. It could be cats. It could be birds. Whatever happens to be your thing. Okay. Of course, with us, we're working with the bunnies because it is such a difficult situation, and there are so many being abandoned right now. So on your own Facebook pages, please put out there, please do not abandon your domestic rabbit. They are domestic. They cannot survive. We have seen bunnies coming in here in such horrible, horrible shape that even we couldn't save them, okay? All because they have been put outside. So please,
I'm begging.
Pass that information on. Do
I'm
not
begging.
put them outside.
I just had emailed Joy today, and of course we're full and we have no room, but someone had contacted me about a bunny that got thrown out and sent me pictures of it, which brought tears to my eyes. My poor husband, we're on vacation for our anniversary.
Yeah, you were. Yeah. Sorry. Happy anniversary.
Yeah. And here I am bawling my eyes out because this poor bunny, under its neck, was it like the dewlap neck?
It was the dewlap, but it looked like a girl.
Was, oh gosh, maybe like this big of cutaribas.
You could see them crawling out.
Oh my gosh.
That's how disgusting
And then
it was.
behind the one ear by its head, they were up there too.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, it just broke my heart. And I could see pussy stuff, so I know it's either abscessing or getting infected. And I have tried to track down to get the person to tell me where the bunny is because...
And I did have a little bit of contact. She hasn't seen the bunny since those pictures were taken. And here again, do not turn them loose. And that's the biggest thing you can do on your end is to put out on your Facebook page, your Twitter, your Instagram, whatever. Do not, if you have a bunny and do not want it, do not turn it loose. please. It is such a horrible thing. You know,
It's the hard reality is you have no idea what that poor thing's going to go through once you
Right.
throw it out the door. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And I don't want to tell you guys any of the bad stories because it's terrible.
well, that one's bad enough.
Yeah.
So
But-
yeah, unfortunately, we have others, but we really want you to just, as I said, on your end, please let people know. Take them to the shelter, take them to animal control, even if they are euthanized. It is a
I
better
was
situation
just going to say,
than.
I was just told
Oh my gosh,
by
what we're seeing.
my dog and cat vet that they're having to euthanize so many cats and kittens weekly because everybody's full and can't take in the kittens, and it's so
Right.
inhumane. They're coming in when their eyes are like
Oh, they're
bulging
right.
out, and
A
she
lot of
said
them,
they
infections,
need.
things.
Yeah, they said it's better to give them the gift
Of letting them go than it is
instead
to
of
let them
suffering
suffer and
outside.
dying that way.
Yeah.
So all of those things, it's a, one of those things. But, if you've got bunnies in your home, go give them kisses, love, make sure they know that you love them, because it is such a wonderful thing. We've seen a lot of people who have adopted from us who have found what kind of love they can find with a bunny, bunnies that are snuggling up with them and all of that sort of thing.
Yeah, I get a lot of pictures and
Yes.
videos and
Yeah.
good stories emailed about it all the time, and all the bad stuff we see makes it so worth it when we
see
the good stuff come out of all the hard work we put
Right.
into it.
Yeah.
So
So we want those, but when it comes to, like I said, with your bonding and things like that, just be aware that you can reach out if you have questions of what you're doing, and sometimes if you've picked out two different bunnies, be aware that they may end up having to live separately, but they can be nice neighbors. Just make sure that you've got something in between that they cannot reach each other through the bars and cause biting. I had a lady just tell me today, she goes, well, I see them lying next to the bars, but when I try to put them together, they fight. I'm going, yes, they're lying next to the bars because they're guarding their territory. They're not trying to be close to each other.
I know I had one lady too come in, and she said they were housed in the same room but apart, but she would let one go out and play and then the other one get put back, and then
right, as long
and
as they
then
can't reach each other.
she was trying to bond them and it wasn't going well. I said, well, no, because the other one's going,
My
what the
territory.
heck? That bunny's out, my neighbor's out, I'm not out.
Yeah.
He's in my spot. He's with my mom.
Yes, all of these things, they get jealous.
Oh,
They
my-
get very, very jealous. That's what I said. It's much easier to have the other bunny, in another room, okay? So that when they get together, they have a much better chance of getting together.
The one thing I do want to say, which a lot of people don't do, is you and your family have to bond with the bunny that you just brought in your home.
True.
Because if that bunny feels, which I had that, they come in and they were trying to bond, but they hadn't had a bond with the other bunny, and their bunny was bonded with it,
Yeah.
but they couldn't see it, but they weren't bonded with that bunny.
Right. So while you're doing those bonding sessions, and again, the other bunny's living apart, okay, take the time to get to know
Yes.
that bunny, okay? So it does love you and it trusts you.
Yep.
And then it's going to feel much more comfortable when
It
the other
is.
bunnies go together. Another trick that I found is if you take each one's litter box, okay, and you switch them,
Switch them
okay?
every day.
Don't clean them. So every other day you switch them. Now when you do clean them, you've got to let it get dirty again
Yeah.
for at least for one day before you switch them. That way they're living with each other's smell, but they can't fight with that smell. Okay?
Right.
It's in the litter box.
The other thing is take a small stuffed animal or just a small, maybe a wash rag or a dish towel. I don't do anything really big.
No.
And I rub it all over the bunny, stick it in the other one's cage, back and forth.
Right. And then again, you're back and forth.
Yeah, but I noticed that they'll start sniffing it, they'll dig at it, and then
Maybe lay
Laid
down.
on it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
And then when they meet that, oh, you smell, you smell right. Rabbits, they depend on their nose, not on their eyes, okay? And so if this bunny smells funny, they're going to reject it. And there's another issue with bonded pairs. If say, pairs, if they're just getting an exam, they both go to the vet together, okay?
Right.
But if one needs to see the veterinarian and the other one doesn't, take them together. Now, this one doesn't have to have an exam or anything like that, but they need to go together. They're in the same carrier, and that way when they come home, they still smell alike, okay? If this bunny goes to the veterinarian, and this one's waiting at home, and this one comes back, and now it smells like the clinic. Okay.
And it's happened.
Right. And then this one's going, wait a minute, I'm not taking that, and
I had a lady.
It's like a Punch and Judy show. Yeah.
I know. I had a lady that did that, and she called Pat and said, "They're fighting. I don't know what to do." And then Pat discovered what she had done. It took her a week to get them back together. They were so
because they now had a very high stress situation. They had fought, and it's just like people. It's really difficult sometimes to get past the hurt of those fights, especially if there was a little injury involved.
So Leslie wants to know, what if it's two boy bunnies?
Okay, two boy bunnies are actually, in my experience, now I have other people will tell you differently. In my experience, I find it easier to bond two boy bunnies than to bond two girl bunnies. Okay. Because a lot of times we see the boys are kind of like, yeah, whatever, I'm ready to take a friend. Okay, okay, you're fine. Okay, the girls are more territorial in my experience. Okay, so usually when a female bunny comes in here, we usually try to find a male bonding for that bunny. And now and everything is, there's never an exact, there's never nothing's written in stone. We have seen occasions where, say it's a female and maybe she lost her sister or she lost her mother. They sometimes are more prone to taking in another female, versus a male. So know the situation behind them, the thing. We've had brothers and sisters bonded. We've had mothers and daughters bonded. There's all kinds of things. But yes, we have seen two boys bond, and I said they just become buddies.
As long as they're neutered before you do it.
Oh yeah. And you want those hormones gone. So it needs to be 30 to 60 days before you even begin that introduction. And if it's a little older bunny, you go towards the 60-day side because it seems to take longer to get those hormones out the older that bunny is.
Yes, and you definitely want to make sure they're fixed.
Right.
For sure. So, let me see. I think that was the only question.
Okay.
Karen says hello.
Hi.
And I think that's all the questions so far.
Okay. Well, then, like I said, if you have any questions or at all, send them in to us, and we will be more than happy to get back to you regarding bonding or any other questions that you have.
Yep.
Okay?
We're always here to help.
Right. Okay.
We'll see
Bye.
you next week.